everybody, you're listening to It's About Business on All Time Favorites, AM 650, and we are very fortunate to have somewhat of a media expert in this studio with us. We have Mr. Mitch Drew of Jackson Mitchell Advertising. Hello, sir.
Hello, Shannon. Well, thanks for having me here.
It's great to have you here. And you kind of come from this world a little bit.
I've been around the business for a long time. I grew up in a radio station, literally. My father owned a radio station on Vancouver Island for 27 years. So
Wow.
I worked, doing what art does, and I worked on the mic and moved into sales. Spent a lot of time working with small and medium-sized businesses in the market and helping them and selling them advertising and talking to them about their business. Basically, I've spent my entire life in media sales and sales management, dealing with business owners and talking to them about their pain. And their pain is always the same pain. They need more customers and they need to make more money.
Yeah, it's the universal pain.
Exactly.
Of
it's
business.
very common. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it's great to have you here. I want to learn a little bit more about, with that experience, what do you see as being one of the most important parts that a business should look at for getting exposure?
I like to get back to basics. Number one, I mean,
Okay.
certainly, advertising really hasn't changed a lot in like thousands of years. I mean, when they dug up Pompeii, right? Seriously, it really hasn't. Okay.
Okay.
When they dug up Pompeii, there were signs that were on, that would point to where the bazaar was, and the people that sold soap and body perfumes used to put their locations down by the water where people went and bathed. Okay, so the basic principles of advertising and marketing and sales really haven't changed that much. What's changed now that really causes, I guess, a lot of confusion, a lot of pain, is the fact that there are just so many choices out there. There are so many things, and it's quite overwhelming. I mean, when a small bit, and I have some very good friends that I know through my kids and through parents at school and that, who will open a small business, and they know I'm in advertising. They'll say, Mitch, we've got this business we open up, and we're advertising in the newspaper, and we're doing this and we're doing that, but we've got our website and our Facebook and our thing. It's just overwhelming because they're still running a business, which means they're still worrying about inventory and staff and all of the things that everybody needs to worry about. Plus, you add the entire dynamic of marketing and how complex it is now. I love it when a client says, "Oh, I need a Facebook page." Well, do you? I don't know. Do you? Maybe you do. But they're freaking out. Oh my, I'm not on Facebook. But I have to be, right?
Yeah.
So I try to boil it down and say, look, let's look at some of the basics. Number one, the internet is an incredible tool for all of us.
Absolutely.
You and I were talking off mic about, how important the elevator pitch and the ability for you to present your story to someone in 60 seconds or less. And the ability to do that on the internet is fabulous. I mean, even just with, pictures of your store or your business and photographs, but of course taking it to the next level and having a video and having descriptive video and saying, "Hi, welcome to our company. This is what we do. This is why we do it. And if you're looking for what we have to offer, we'd love to do business with you." And being able to distribute that and disseminate that information, around the world is fantastic. Even better to be able to disseminate that in your micro area, and put that on mobile phones so that, someone can be looking for a dry cleaner and be able to visit your store 6 blocks away and actually have you say, "Hey, welcome. Here's what we do. Here's how we do it."
Yeah.
So I try to get people to really think about the basics and say, look, let's not overthink it, but let's make sure you get your creative house in order, and certainly, just having some general content issues on your website is a good place to start.
Absolutely. We're talking to Mitch Drew of Jackson Mitchell Advertising, a gentleman that has been in media for many years. Those are your words.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very old,
Yeah.
as you can see on camera.
We call that experience.
Makeup. Sorry. Thank you.
But with your experience, I mean, basically, just to recap, It's About Business is a show that we want to really bring information to people. Just a realistic conversation about grassroots. What do you got to do when you have problems? What are the resources you can use? And something you've touched on is video.
Video is great now. I mean, even looking today, you've got video cameras recording this, and it's a relatively simple process. I would recommend that video and sort of video slash content be a very important part of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you've got, video testimonials from your customers, videos about the new products and services that you're offering. If you're installing a new piece of equipment in your business that's going to enhance. If you're a bakery and you're adding another oven, have someone videotape it and chop up a
Yeah.
little 30 or 60-second clip and put it up on your Facebook page or your website and let people see it.
Okay, so a question about that. Do you, in your opinion, think people like to see raw video where people kind of mess up and don't quite get it right, or do they prefer to see more produced, polished pieces?
I think it's a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't necessarily think that it's as important to run slick video. Now, don't get me wrong. When, I
Okay.
buy a lot of advertising. So, like, when we're running advertising in Vancouver Canucks hockey, we've got to have the spot in HD and we've got to spend the money and have the production qualities or else it doesn't
Right.
fit into the format. Again, on the other end of the scale, if the video is too raw and too unpolished, it's not going to fit into the groove of what people are used to seeing on the internet. I mean, even when you look at a lot of these independently produced YouTube videos, the ones that get a lot of high views, they're not super raw. I mean, they're well edited, they're nice and
Mm-hmm.
tight, they're clean, they look good, they're well lit.
Right.
So I would say somewhere in the middle. In other words,
Okay.
if and that's why it's great to have, you look at the people on your staff that are younger, look at the young people that have Macs and know how to run, Final Cut Pro or even iMovie and put together some video. But I would rather see mediocre video than no video because video
Okay.
is, I mean, YouTube's the #2 search engine next to Google, and Google is optimizing for video all the time. So every day that you don't have video on your website is losing traction. That is a fact.
Wow.
Okay?
That's impactful.
And you can't argue that fact.
No,
You can't
no.
because it's a
Attraction
fact.
is that's a big
So
deal.
you have a website that you built 4 years ago
Mm-hmm.
and you love it because it's your website and you show it to everybody and no disrespect and you
Right.
spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
But if you're not updating the content like blogging or putting
Mm-hmm.
new content on there and if you're not putting video on there, you're not gaining any ground. You're actually losing ground because Google and all the brains at Google are all driven around the growth of video. And of course, the video growth is very, very steep. They're looking for video. And, we have situations. I work with a company, BBN3 Video, and we provide video solutions to web design companies. And, we look at scenarios where we'll do search analysis for like a spa in Kennebunkport, Maine. And we'll say, no, because we have customers, they're building websites for a guy. And I picked that community because we did an analysis for a site there.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a beautiful store. The person spent $1.5 million on the spa. They spent $45,000 on the website. And one
Wow.
of their competitors who's 6 blocks away is getting more traction on Google and YouTube with a $2,000 video.
Wow.
Okay? And that's happening to everybody out there. So
Mm-hmm.
video is very important. And I really, and it helps with the stickiness of your website as well, too. People will stay.
So how can a person, anybody that has absolutely no experience with video, if they're anything like me, doesn't even know where to get started. So how do you get started with that?
There are a lot of options. I mean, we see, like I said, friends and family. Look for the young people. Look at the producers. We all have video phones in
Yeah.
our hands.
Mm-hmm.
We all have high definition cameras.
Yeah.
With an iPhone that can take movies. So I would just literally think about starting there. Look at services like BBN3 Video, the company I work with,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a great provider. There are you can move all the way up the scale. So just start searching video. Talk to your friends. Look at other websites that you like. Ask them who they're using. But I think I would highly recommend if you're a small and medium-sized business
Mm-hmm.
that you consider the website and your video on your website to be your storefront, and a storefront is very important.
That's fantastic advice. Mitch, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It's a
That's great. I
great,
appreciate it.
it was a great conversation. And if you want to learn more about Jackson Mitchell Advertising or just reach out to Mitch, Google's probably the best bet. Yeah?
Google Mitch Drew Vancouver, and you'll find me. And that's the other thing. I mean, we can talk about that on another show
Yeah.
about blogging, posting, posting, and so that your name or your business name is going to get some traction. I mean, you Google Jackson Mitchell advertising as well, you'll get it. So, and I know you're very well, entrenched on the internet. When you Google your name and the show name, you get your LinkedIn profile, you get your Google, you get your Twitter, all, Google will find all of those access points. And I mean, that's a whole other topic that maybe we'll come back one day and talk about.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us on It's About Business. We'll see you next time.
There's still more ahead with Experts on Call, the show focused on delivering relevant and beneficial consumer information. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.